My cousin fell in love with my fiancé. Because she lost her mother at a young age and was lonely, everyone asked me to give up my fiancé to her. Even my fiancé, who has been in love for many years, is extremely indifferent to her on the surface, but in fact I have bumped into her many times behind her back. They are holding hands and ambiguous. When he was found out, he just said, "It's just a joke, Anno, don't you believe your sister? Okay, let me give up my fiancé, right? I'll do as you wish." The engagement contract is the same as before, but the person has become Shen Yunqing, the illegitimate son who has been exiled and unfavored. When the news came out, the fiancé said confidently, "Chen Annuo is reluctant to give up the identity of the heir of the Shen family. It's just an illegitimate child. How can you compare with me?" He was sure that I was just angry and would still beg him if he understood. However, whoever has a marriage contract with me is qualified to be the heir of the Shen family. And what he didn't know was that my illegitimate son and I were going to kiss in private. 1. When Shen Zhaoqi affectionately sent a photo of Lin Ku wiping the stains from the corners of his mouth with a tissue to my mobile phone, I was quarreling with Lin Ku and my mother. My mother pointed at my nose and said harshly, "Chen Annuo, can't you tolerate cour like this? Didn't I just go into your room to make such a big fire?" I didn't look good, but I also held back my anger. I have repeatedly emphasized that there are a lot of business secrets in it, and no one can enter this room except me. If Lin Ku does this again, I will really kick her out. My mother is weird. What? Are you going to kick your mother and me out? Will we still leak any of your secrets? You are very good now, and you have brought the official power outside to your home. Alas, this daughter is a white-eyed wolf when she is old. She even shows no mercy to her own mother and cousin. I was no longer scruple and sneered. It is called my cousin in the outside world, but in fact it is your illegitimate daughter outside. It's a great gift for me to let her eat the Chen family's meal. She'd better not dance on my bottom line, and don't look at her identity as a demon here. My mother's face changed greatly and she raised her hand and slapped me fiercely. I slammed the door and left in anger. So when I first came out of the house and saw this photo, the string called reason in my mind was completely broken. I drove the Maserati to Shen's house with the locksmith. The gate of Shen's house disintegrated gently under the magic technology of the unlocking master. Inside, a man in a bathrobe came out, and water was still dripping on his freshly washed hair. Cold white skin, high nose bridge, tearing face. He is Shen Yunqing, the half-brother of Shen Zhaoqi's half-child. He was just taken back to Shen's house some time ago. He touched his nose. Shen Zhaoqi is not at home. The elders have fallen asleep now. "Miss Chen, please." I pulled him into my car, and the door was closed by me. Shen Yun gripped my sleeves helplessly, blushing with blood, and his long black eyelashes trembled again and again. I asked, "For the first time?" He didn't say anything. I reached out to cover his eyes. After tossing and turning all night, until the fish belly turned white outside the window, I pushed Shen Yunqing, who was buried in my neck, expressionlessly. He ate enough and said hoarsely, "Sister, I'm not a junior." I said coldly, "Go back." Shen Yunqing's face turned pale in an instant, and his eyes dimmed. "What do you mean?" I cleaned myself up in an orderly manner. "Even if it's your first time, I won't be responsible." Shen Yun blushed lightly, put on last night's bathrobe indiscriminately, and rushed out of the door. 2. The short-term vanity makes me indulge, but after indulgence I need to return to reality to deal with these rags. Since Lin Ku came to my house, my life has changed dramatically. She lost her mother when she was young. When she first came to my house, she was so thin that she was no longer in good spirits. At first, I felt sorry for her, so I was willing to be good to her and make up for the love she had never received. She fell in love with the handsome, tall and rich Shen Zhaoqi, and said that I was the third party who destroyed their relationship. As long as I get closer to Shen Zhaoqi, she will suddenly scream and attack people madly. The more she is like this, the more people feel sorry for her. Mom said that Lin was her sister's only child, and she must take good care of her sister's only bloodline. She told me not to argue with a poor person, so I endured it. In order not to provoke Lin Ku, my mother asked me and Shen Zhaoqi not to see each other as much as possible, and also asked Shen Zhaoqi to pretend to be her boyfriend for the time being to help her return to normal. Shen Zhaoqi has complained to me more than once about how annoying Lin Ku is. He often speaks out. When Lin Ku recovers of his illness, he will definitely let her go as far as he goes. But gradually, I found that the chat topics between me and Shen Zhaoqi revolved around Lin Ku. Lin Ku is so annoying. The scarf I gave you has been cut to pieces. I'll buy you a new one. But the new scarf is no longer below. Lin Ku is sick again today. Hold me and don't let go. Anno, Lin Ku is not in a good mood. Your appearance will stimulate her. Let's not see each other these 2 days. Lin Ku. Yes, now that he is cured, Shen Zhaoqi's heart has been successfully hooked by her. As for my mother, her concern for Lin Ku has exceeded her aunt's concern for her niece. She would rather let her own daughter be wrong than be kind to Lin Ku wholeheartedly. The seeds of my doubts have long been buried, and they gradually take root and germinate in my heart. Until I did the DNA test, it confirmed my guess. There is no sister at all. Lin Ku is my mother's daughter. When I learned the result, I was not surprised at all. Instead, it was an expected feeling. I wanted to keep a decent face for my mother, but I didn't expose the fact that she cheated on me and betrayed my father. But yesterday, Lin Ku entered my room without my permission and had an affair with my fiancé. My mother quarreled with me to protect her. Impulsiveness is greater than reason. I broke her secret. With Shen Yunqing, I also suddenly got on my head. I wanted to find Shen Zhaoqi and confront him face to face, but I slept with Shen Yunqing by mistake. This unfavored illegitimate son has suffered countless white eyes and prejudices in the Shen family, and he and I only have a few fates. At that time, Shen Zhaoqi should have been with Lin Ku. 3. When I came home from Shen's house, it happened to be breakfast time. My mother, Lin Ku, had dinner with an uninvited guest. I handed the bag to the servant and asked, "Why are you here?" Shen Zhaoqi lied and didn't blush or beat. "I missed you very much when I got up in the morning, so I came to see you from home." Joke, I just came back from the Shen family, but I didn't see you all night. On the contrary, Lin Ku's face was full of red light, which was the same as the rosy on my face. I guessed a 7788 in my heart. Lin Ku is still sitting in my seat, and Shen Zhaoqi sits next to her. When he saw me, he didn't mean to give up his seat at all. I stood next to Lin Ku and smiled. "I really don't want to ask why I stayed up all night and what I did. Didn't you come to see me? Why did I start eating before I came?" It seemed that he didn't expect me to be so aggressive. Shen Zhaoqi was a moment late. "It's not that my aunt said that you were out to work, so I didn't bother you. Since you're here, let's sit down and have dinner together." My mother sat in the main seat and didn't have a good face for me. Obviously, she was still angry about what happened yesterday. If you want to eat, just sit down. How can you stand and let everyone eat?" I put my hand on the chair and smiled. "Is my cousin healed? I think it's necessary to take her to check it again. She's so confused that she can't even tell the seat." Lin Ku was stunned. She looked at my mother as if asking for help, and then looked at Shen Zhaoqi aggrievedly. Both of them didn't respond. Then she got up and smiled apologetically to me. "I'm sorry, cousin, your name is not written on this seat, and my sister didn't know that this was your exclusive seat, so she sat down in confusion." My mother was very dissatisfied. "Where did you get so many rules? Just sit down, really?" I pointed to my mother's seat. "Mom, get up. I want to sit in your seat." My mother was dark-faced and didn't say anything. Lin Kujiao said, "Well, cousin, it's just one seat. Don't hurt the harmony between you and your aunt. I'll just change it." Her understanding words made her mother very useful. Her mother's anger obviously subsided, and she hummed, "It's still sensible." Lin Ku sat opposite Shen Zhaoqi. I observed a little and could see the dark waves in their eyes. After I sat down, Lin Ku's tableware was in front of me. Lin Ku said, "Oh," and asked me to help hand it to her. "Mother Wu," I threw it away. Under my cold order, Wu's mother came over and threw Lin's tableware into the trash can. The crisp broken sound seemed to slap Lin Ku hard, and her eyes were immediately filled with tears. She looked at my good fiancé with tears in her eyes. Shen Zhaoqi frowned and said, "Chen Annuo, it's too much." My mother's voice became sharp. "Chen Annuo, you have no end. Get out of here again." I sat in my seat and didn't continue to laugh, adding a momentum. I said, "Get out of here? This is Chen's house. There are 4 people sitting here. Is there a second one surnamed Chen? If I got out of here, wouldn't you have been tied up and thrown on the street to beg for food long ago? And Shen Zhaoqi, you are just my fiancé. You have no right to ask me about my family affairs. Please show your identity. The Chen family has the rules of the Chen family. The master is the master, and the guest is the guest. If anyone doesn't understand, I don't mind teaching you. But if someone wants to be clever under my eyes, then this family can't tolerate you." When I said this, I stared straight at Lin Ku until she lowered her head and staggered her eyes. My mother held back her anger and didn't blame me abnormally. The 4 of them had a smoky breakfast in peace. Then she informed me, "Today is Kuer's birthday. Tonight, I'm going to hold a grand birthday party for Kuer here to welcome her. Remember to come back on time." 4. Before I got off work, Shen Zhaoqi called. I was upset by the complicated work and hung up impatiently, but he kept calling me persistently. I connected in a very irritable tone. "You'd better have something important to say. Anno, I need to work overtime tonight. Please pick me up. I've been doing it for a long time just to fart." Shen Zhaoqi, Lin Ku's limbs are underdeveloped, and you are also simple-minded? If you ask me to pick up the training class less than 1 kilometer away from home, who will pay my appearance fee? An unpleasant voice came from the other side. "Anno, you talk so badly. Is it necessary to be so scrupulous? We are engaged. It is reasonable for you to do me a favor." Lin Ku came to our house for a period of time. When her condition was almost better, her mother took a blood book and invited a one-on-one foreign teacher for Lin Ku to teach her how to play the piano. And the training class is only 1 kilometer away from home. At the beginning, my mother told me that Lin Ku didn't know the way and asked me to pick me up every day. If you don't understand, just ask, does the training class need to go through 981 difficulties to get home? I said let the driver at home pick me up. Mom said, It's so pitiful. When you come to our home, we should care more about her. It's inevitable that it will be rusty for the driver to pick her up. On the contrary, it shows our sincerity, and it can also close the relationship between you. It won't waste much time to pick her up. My mother said so, and I had to respond. I was very busy at work every day, and the company and the training class went against each other. Even so, I took the time to pick her up. And once after I picked her up from work, Lin Ku suddenly trembled and fainted in my car. After waking up, he lost his mind again. He pointed at me and trembled and cried, shrinking into Shen Zhaoqi's arms in fear. My mother slapped me on the spot and said sadly, "What did you do to Kuer? She is your cousin. She is already suffering so much. Why do you want to hurt her? Chen Annuo, you have everything, can't you tolerate Lin Ku?" I broke my defense. My defense will only make Lin Ku shout louder. Shen Zhaoqi didn't believe me either. He put Lin Ku in his arms and looked at me in a protective posture. "From today on, I'll pick up Kuer. Chen Annuo, you'd better keep a distance from Kuer." When I was pointed out by 1,000 husbands, my mother and my fiancé were all standing opposite me. This is really my blessing. Since then, Shen Zhaoqi has taken the initiative to take on the role of Lin Ku's driver until now. The fiancé has achieved this point. I should abandon it. Joke, now that feng shui rotates, he has found me again. The man on the opposite side said cautiously, "Anno, is it okay?" 5. Lin Ku's birthday party was held at the Chun family's old house. When I went back, my mother was leading Lin Ku, who was dressed in gorgeous clothes, to pick up people at the door. If I have to listen to Shen Zhaoqi, I'm afraid I'm going to be empty in the training class at this moment. I went in with those guests. When the guests saw me, they came over and greeted me warmly. On the contrary, he awkwardly left the birthday star who had reached out and prepared to welcome them in place. Lin Keki withdrew his hand, and anger flashed through his eyes. Then he ran over and took my arm with a smile. "My sister is back." Lin Ku wore a customized dress made by Valentino, and every exposed place was covered with gold and silver jewelry, which was very extravagant. Looking at Lin Ku now, I can't help but think of her appearance when she first came to my house a year ago. Just like two people. Now her body is much rounder, and her whole body is white and red. I kept my distance from her silently and said, "Happy birthday." My mother came up and looked at me left and right. I didn't see what she wanted. "Where is Kuer's gift?" I spread my hands and was about to open my mouth. "Sister must want to surprise me, auntie. Let's go first and take it out when you are ready. Lin Ku will make up for me. If I can't take out the gift later, I'm afraid she and my mother will make a big deal again." As soon as they left, someone patted me on the shoulder. It turned out to be Shen Yunqing. "Why are you here?" I was a little puzzled. Did Shen Yunqing attend Lin Ku's birthday party? He looked at me without blinking. "The invitation sent by my aunt under your name, I didn't know it was your sister's birthday party until I came. I know that I have been in the fame and fortune market for so many years and have accumulated a lot of connections. There are countless people outside who want to cooperate with me. Mom knew this, so I want to pave the way for Lin Ku under my banner. It's just that she miscalculated, and I'm not a soft persimmon to be pinched by others. If you want to take a shortcut, it depends on my disagreement." My thoughts have turned many bends, but I ignored Shen Yunqing's burning eyes that had been falling on me. Many officials and nobles came to the scene. People are almost here. During that time, many people thought it was a business meeting full of dividends, but when they came to know that it was Lin Ku's birthday party, they were disappointed. But he came just to give the Chun family a face, so he continued to stay. Mom took Lin Ku's hand to the center of the stage and gave a passionate speech with a microphone. "Welcome to the little girl's birthday party." Lin Ku stood beside obediently and listened carefully. Frowning at me from time to time, he showed provocative eyes in the unnoticed corner. "Little girl, this is really unshying." I sneered and ignored the two people on the stage. The following is the cake-cutting ceremony. Mom looked at Lin Ku lovingly. "Kuer, you come." At the same time, I, an uninvited guest, smiled and walked up to meet the eyes of everyone. Lin Ku's hand holding the knife stiffened. Mom didn't know what I wanted to do and tried her best to wink at me. "Welcome to my sister's birthday party. I would like to take this opportunity to announce a message to you. From today on, I will officially become the chairman and CEO of Chen's group. Please give me more advice in the future. I, Chen, are recruiting talents. If you think you are a legacy of the sea, you can recommend yourself to Mao Sui later. If you pass the assessment, you will be hired directly with a high salary." As soon as these words came out, the whole hall was shocked. Mom looked over incredulously. Lin Ku's jealous look can't be concealed at this moment. "Director Chen is really young and promising. Director Chen, this is my business card." For a moment, I was surrounded by everyone's congratulations. In fact, Grandpa gave me all the shares for a while, but at that time my seniority was still young, and I was afraid that I would not be able to convince the public, so I blocked the news. Even my mother doesn't know. Now that my ability is in the eye, it's time to make it public. Lin Ku's birthday party is the beauty of adults. As soon as the news came out, who still had the heart to take care of whose birthday party? They all rushed to smole me. The protagonist of the banquet was completely ignored. 6. When Shen Zhaoqi arrived, what he saw was the scene of me and Shen Yunqing walking side by side, staggering with everyone. His eyes suddenly darkened, and his hand holding the exquisite gift box tightened a little more. After the guests left, there were only a few of us left in the living room. My mother rarely got angry and sat calmly on the sofa. Lin Ke snuggled up beside my mother with an aggrieved look. Strangely enough, Shen Zhaoqi and Shen Yunqing also didn't leave. My mother said uninformably, "Anno, give half of your shares to Kuer as a birthday present." Lin Ke's expression suddenly brightened up, and suddenly it turned cloudy to sunny. She didn't seem to expect this part either. Half of Chen's shares, countless glory and wealth, can ensure that she will have no worries about food and clothing for the rest of her life. The scale in Mom's heart is crooked enough. I firmly said, "Impossible." Mom looked unhappy and should have said, "It's all a family, Chen Annuo, don't be too selfish. That old immortal has given you a lot of shares. He gave half of it to Kuer and you still have half of it. What's the point of giving up? This is in order." I laughed and said word by word, "Mom, I think you are old and confused. Lin Ke's surname is Lin, and the surname of the shares in my hand is Chun. Not to mention that she is delusional. Even Mom, you have nothing to do with these shares. Now I, Chen Annuo, am the head of the family. The shares are gone or left. Only I can be the master, and no one else has the right to interfere." My mother trembled with anger and stood up tremblingly to fan me. Lin Ke helped her anxiously and frowned at me. "Cousin, don't say a few words. I know you're talking about anger. If you don't want to take the shares, you can give me some more. I won't mind." Shen Yun sneered gently and said, "Auntie, it's not so biased. Why hurt your own daughter's heart for an outsider?" Mom said, "My fiancé fell in love with my cousin, but he didn't know that I had the final say in his identity." 39,103. Shen Yunqing, when will it be your turn? A wild mother who doesn't know speak? Do you have anything to say here? 7. Shen Zhaoqi's face was black and interrupted Shen Yunqing's words. I subconsciously took a look at his reaction. The man didn't get angry when he was scolded. He restrained his smile and looked away. "Brother, won't you give this carefully prepared gift to the birthday man?" Only then did everyone see that Shen Zhaoqi was holding an exquisite gift box in one hand. I glanced over and put away my smile. I knew what it was at a glance. I used to blow the pillow wind next to him. In order for him to give me this gift, I praised the brand. He was so impatient that he dodged because of his busy work. Then there was no follow-up. I didn't say it again, and I also bought the gift I've been thinking about. But after I received it, I didn't like it as much as before. Now, when I see Shen Zhaoqi give Lin Ke this gift, I have an inexplicable feeling in my heart. It turned out that he had heard it and just wanted to leave the best for others. Shen Zhaoqi offered the gift with both hands under the eyes of several pairs of eyes and said sincerely, "Kuer, happy birthday to you." Lin Ke looked shy. She blushed slightly in her white and tender little hands to catch it. "Thank you, Brother Zhaoqi." The inexplicable magnetic field between the two people can't be integrated into by others no matter what. At the same time, Shen Yun's careless words sounded beside him. "Sister, he doesn't care about you, can you stand it?" He turned his head and looked at me with a smile. That I thought I could see any sad look in my eyes, but I didn't think it was calm. He said in a voice that only the two of us could hear, "Do you want me to help you clean him up?" I shook my head. The mother watched the two people do something beyond the ordinary relationship between men and women, but she was indifferent. When I sent Shen Zhaoqi out, the two were speechless. Before leaving, he said, "When did you and Shen Yunqing have such a good relationship?" I asked back, "When did you and Lin Ke become so close?" Shen Zhaoqi rubbed his hair irritably. "Am I asking you? What do you mean by asking me in turn? I thought it was an unshakable thing between us to play separately. Shen Zhaoqi, you are not qualified to ask me." The man's face suddenly changed. He pinched my shoulder. "When did I say that we would play separately? How many have you two developed? Chen Annuo, you are still my fiancé. I warn you." I threw off his arm impatiently. "Fiancé? I'm afraid it's the dove occupying the magpie's nest." I handed him all the photos of Lin Ke and Shen Zhaoqi collected. I laughed directly and said, "Why don't I know that you need to roll the sheets to help Lin Ke cure her illness? Which medical history book has been recorded like this?" Shen Zhaoqi looked at these clear photos and was stunned. Anger appeared on his face. "Chen Annuo, did you secretly take a picture of me? Lin Ke and I are just acting on the occasion. You know my fiancé will only be you. It's normal for a man to have a heart. Which man doesn't steal fish? Don't send it to your door for nothing. Did I treat you unfairly?" Listening to his words, I had mixed feelings and silently distanced myself from him. "Shen Zhaoqi, you are really honest. Don't question me anymore. You don't deserve it. Otherwise, I'm not the only one who has seen these photos." 8. At night, Link knocked on my door. She showed off across the market with the jewelry given by Shen Zhaoqi. He came in proudly. "Chen Annuo, you must hate me so much." The face was full of the winner's smile. I was dealing with my work and responded with an expressionless face. "You don't deserve to make me hold a grudge. Get out." Lin Ke's face stiffened and then said, He pretended not to care on the surface, but he was almost angry inside. My mother and fiancé are all around me. A proud daughter like you didn't expect this moment. At the beginning I was just a little trick, and they rushed to me one after another. What about you, Chen Annuo, what do you have? She didn't see any expectation on my face and stood up suddenly. Now you are so calm. When you hand over Chen's shares and I become the mistress of the Shen family, can you still laugh? He came to me with the gift from Shen Zhaoqi. See? Brother Zhaoqi sent it to me. Do you want to know how far we have come? This is Lin Ku. Hypocritical, dark, selfish and vicious. But it's an honor. I am the only one who has seen this side of her. I smiled and slapped her with my hand. Lin Ku, there is no mirror at home and there is urine. An illegitimate daughter also deserves to talk wildly here. Not to mention that you can't get a penny of the shares of the Chen family. Even the Shen family will not want someone of unknown origin like you as a daughter-in-law. Now you can stay here intact, which is my reward for you. Not letting you kneel down is my greatest tolerance for you. Lin Ku covered his face in horror, and was so scared that he forgot to retaliate. How do you know? The matter of the illegitimate daughter is done seamlessly. If it hadn't been for my mother's extremely strange attitude, I might not have found out in my life. I approached her and said, if Shen Zhaoqi loses everything he has now because of your illegitimate daughter, guess will he still like you? Finally, I didn't have a smile. Get out or I don't mind taking violent measures. Lin Kehui slipped away with his tail between his legs. 9. Shen Zhaoqi, he touched my bottom line again and again. I can't stand him at all. I went straight past him and contacted the old man of the Shen family. The old man was shocked and angry when he heard that I was going to cancel the engagement. He promised me that he would teach Shen Zhaoqi a good lesson and make him realize his mistake. My attitude is resolute and no matter what I say I can't change my mind. The old man retreated, hoping to keep the engagement. The Shen family has many children, not only Shen Zhaoqi. What I'm waiting for is what he wants to say. So in a tense and fierce negotiation, my fiancé changed from Shen Zhaoqi to Shen Yunqing, and got 3 cooperation projects from Shen's at a low price. Stable profit-making business without loss. I know that since then, Shen Zhaoqi's pawn has been abandoned in the Shen family. Shen Yunqing, don't let go of those who have bullied you. The identity of the heir of the Chen family is no longer a secret in the business world. If the Shen family wants to marry me, they must show their sincerity. Only the future heirs of the Shen family have this qualification. Shen Zhaoqi, as the most outstanding person in the Shen family's generation, is really the best choice. It's just that he is going to die. Now Shen Zhaoqi's position has been replaced by Shen Yunqing. I'm afraid the map of the Shen family will change. Shen Yunqing sent me out and his eyes were dark. Do you think I'm happy because of this? Shen Yunqing had a miserable childhood, but after being picked up by the Shen family, he didn't get any better. The Shen family took him back for the sake of face. In the Shen family, even a servant can insult him and scold him, not to mention Shen Zhaoqi, a prince who has been raised well since he was a child. His status can be imagined. Shen Yun's way of looking at me is really innocent. I looked away. Because it doesn't matter and I'm not interested in knowing. Anyway, my goal has been achieved. Shen Yunqing's eyes dimmed. He whispered, I will help you and get everything you want. 10. Shen Zhaoqi sent me a message that night. Want to capture the old one? Chen Annuo, stop in moderation. It's just an illegitimate child who competes with wild dogs when he was young. How can he compare with me? Come to think of it, he already knows the news of my dissolution of the engagement. I sent him a one-stop service to blacklet and delete. Just an ex-boyfriend. He has no value for me. What he didn't know was that Shen Yunqing and I had kissed each other in private. As a result, the next day he made a high-profile official announcement that he was with Lin Ku. My mutual friend and I complained. Shen Zhaoqi is in heaven, and the emperor is in love with Lin Kuxiu. Everyone is almost tired of them. After hearing that the engagement was cancelled that day, Shen Zhaoqi knelt all night in the ancestral hall of the Shen family. I just laughed it off when I heard it. Lin Ku is tireless to send me all kinds of group photos of her and Shen Zhaoqi, even if I never reply. I'm getting busier and busier now. I can't even go home several times a week. Not to mention seeing the news of Shen Zhaoqi. Instead, Shen Yunqing came 3 times a day. My stomach, which was gently raised by Shen Yun, became tricky. In the company he brings me 3 meals a day, and we stay together every day. Yes, I am working with Shen Yunqing now. Before Shen Yunqing returned to the Shen family, he had independently set up a small-scale company. For so many years he has been hiding his glory in the dark, so that one day he can trample on those who bully him. Shen Yunqing is talented and intelligent. Through his operation the company has already become bigger and stronger, and our joint hands today are even stronger. He lacks some shortcomings in management which happens to be my strength. Our cooperation is rarely smooth. Just when the project we created together was sold at a high price that day, I brought Shen Yunqing home. Unfortunately, Lin Ku and Shen Zhaoqi were there at that time. The originally happy atmosphere was directly destroyed after we came in hand. My mother said meanly, How dare you come back with an illegitimate child? Without the illegitimate son you are talking about, your precious daughter can't be with Shen Zhaoqi as she wishes. Lin Ke took Shen Zhaoqi's hand and looked at me vigilantly. Shen Zhaoqi didn't say anything, and his eyes kept falling on my hands with Shen Yunqing. Anyway, Shen Yunqing greeted politely, "Hello, Auntie." Mom rolled her eyes and was unreasonable. I didn't criticize myself and went back to my room. Only then did I find that my room had become someone else's room. The room is full of men's personal belongings. Mom didn't care and said, "Oh, your bedroom is now inhabited by Zhaoqi. You don't need to live in such a big room alone. Go to that room." Watching all the traces that belong to me disappear, my reason is about to be swallowed up. Lin Ke felt a little guilty and hesitated aside. "Anyway, sister, you don't go home much. Brother Zhaoqi has no place to live, so we will live in your room. When I get married, I will move out." I sneered and directly arranged for the servant to throw out everything in the room and disinfect it. I was very calm on the surface. "Come on, throw Shenya out. In the future, this person is not allowed to be put into the gate of the Chan family." Lin Ke didn't care about any etiquette and shouted angrily, "Chen Annuo, you're crazy. He's my boyfriend. Why did you drive him away? You are jealous that I am with brother Zhaoqi, so you can't do this." I clapped my hands and said, "Good question. You are just a dog attached to the Chen family. I can even drive you away." My mother stopped. "You all stop and don't throw it." But no one cared about her, and everyone here only listened to me. Lin Ke and Shen Zhaoqi were both framed out. Things were thrown all over the ground. Shen Zhaoqi didn't get angry. Before leaving, he looked at me and Shen Yunqing. "Shen Yunqing, you are just Chen Annuo's tool to make me angry. Don't take yourself too seriously." He still thinks that I am with Shen Yunqing for the sake of anger. Shen Yunqing held my hand tightly, and Yun Damfeng said lightly, "You're wrong, Shen Zhaoqi, you are the pawn." The man's face changed and the girl beside him was still shouting, "Chen Annuo, when brother Zhaoqi inherits the Shen family, we will not let you go." Lin didn't pretend or act. "You completely tore your face with me. Let's wait and see." 11. My mother slapped me fiercely, and Shen Yunqing blocked me. "Why do you have to make a fuss as soon as you come back? I'd rather not give birth to your daughter. I don't expect anything from her. If possible, I don't want you as a mother either. Mom, if you can't bear them, you can go together." My mother looked at me angrily with red eyes, as if she were looking at an enemy. "Even if you are used to it, you can't help but feel heartbroken. You are partial to Lin Ke. I can understand that she has lacked maternal love since she was a child. But I'm also your daughter. Why do you hate me so much? Since I was a child, I didn't feel any maternal love. My mother treated me like an ordinary stranger. I thought she was indifferent by nature. But after Lin Ke appeared, I completely broke the defense. She held a birthday party for Lin Ke, gave Lin Ke enough favors, and even hoped that I would give up my fiancé. These are all things I have never had. Mom was hysterical. "What do you know? As soon as I think that you are the daughter of that person, I can't wait to strangle you. But she is my daughter. You are not." I couldn't help but blush. "Since you hate my father so much, why did you marry him and give birth to me?" Mom didn't say anything. She just looked at me with hatred. Shen Yunqing stood beside me and said, "Auntie, I can give her the love you can't give. The love I give is the only one." 12. I moved out and lived with Shen Yunqing. Before I left, I told my mother, "You are my mother. I won't drive you away. You can live here all the time." But Lin Ke and Shen Zhaoqi don't want to step in here. The days with Shen Yunqing are very happy. We have a common goal. Until the banquet of the Shen family, Shen Yunqing took me to attend. Shen Zhaoqi and Lin Ke, who haven't seen each other for a long time, also came. They behave very intimately in front of outsiders, but I always felt that Lin Ke's face was not very good. At the family banquet, Shen Yunqing and I sat next to the old man, while Shen Zhaoqi and Lin Ke sat farthest from the master's seat. The elders of the Shen family are extremely enthusiastic about me, and no one on Lin Ke's side was interested. The two of them ate silently with awkward faces. After Shen Yunqing was called away by the old man of the Shen family, I walked alone in the garden. Shen Zhaoqi came out of nowhere. "Anno, I'm a little jealous." My second son-in-law was at a loss and looked at him with a questioning face. The man said with great confidence, "Leave Shen Yunqing, I'm yours. After so many days I figured it out. I still love you." I was disgusted. "Am I a garbage shelter? Throw any rotten cucumbers to me." Shen Zhaoqi's face changed. "All right, this is the end of the means to capture the past. Don't you just want to force me to turn back? Otherwise, why did you appear in front of me on purpose? Sometimes I am really impressed by men's confidence. Sometimes they will be more confident than you think." He said confidently, "After today, I am the head of the Shen family. Shen Yunqing the bastard will live a happy life for only a few days. Chen Annuo, follow me. I can make you my wife. I can treat those things in the past as if they didn't happen." I really didn't have the patience to listen. "Leave you is the right thing I've ever done." Shen Zhaoqi said it was useless to say anything. He was a little defensive and grabbed my arm irritably. Lin Ke suddenly emerged, grabbed my hair and grinned. Bitch, how dare you seduce my boyfriend? I pinched her tiger's mouth and pushed hard, and Lin Ke let go in pain. I'm too lazy to say a word. Go away. I didn't see Shen Zhaoqi's eyes of disgust at Lin Ke. I didn't pay attention to the episode just now. It happened that Shen Yunqing came out and he came to me. Seeing that my face was not very good, he asked, "What's the matter?" I shook my head. It's okay. I met 2 mad dogs. Let's go. Teen. Today is the day to officially announce the heir of the Shen family. Shen Zhaoqi pulled Lin Ke to stand next to the 2 of us. The 2 of them are very confident and think that the heir Shen Zhaoqi is bound to be acquired. When Zhaoqi becomes the heir, I will see how arrogant you will be. Shen Zhaoqi smiled irrefutably. And when Shen Yunqing's name came out of Mr. Shan's mouth, the 2 of them were completely petrified. And Shen Yun and I applauded lightly and calmly. This result is within my expectation. But for some reason those 2 people are so confident. When we came out, what we saw was Shen Zhaoqi and Lin Ke fighting outside. Shen Zhaoqi slapped Lin Ke. Bitch, it's all your fault. If it weren't for you, how could this heir fall on that wild dog? Lin Ke was not a good man. He scolded angrily. It's not that you are incompetent. If you are so powerful, how can you be easily seduced by me? The former lover is now fighting here, and he is not soft. 14. Lin Ke has been living with Shen Zhaoqi since I kicked me out last time. Shen Zhaoqi was unilaterally cancelled by me, and kicked out of the house by Mr. Shen in anger. The 2 live in a luxury apartment in the city center. Shen Zhaoqi thought that the old man was just angry with him. After a while the anger subsided. But I didn't expect that the old man was not angry at all, but gave up. Shen Zhaoqi is completely out of control now. The dream of their rich family was completely broken today. And how could Shen Yunqing, who was in the top, easily let Shen Zhaoqi go? After that, Shen Zhaoqi made a series of mistakes in his work and was demoted to Shan's branch. In Africa. Lin has no income, and he has been relying on my mother's support for so many years. The living standards of the 2 people have been greatly reduced. Since the last incident, my mother has also resolutely moved out to live with Lin Ke and others. Hearing this, I couldn't help but applaud their mother-daughter love. And I got married to Shen Yunqing. And the company flourished under our leadership. 15. I heard their news again. It was Lin Ke who took away all of Shen Zhaoqi's savings and ran away. She also abandoned her mother who loved her so much. My mother was left by her son and didn't look for me. She dragged her luggage and left. She really hates me. Shen Zhaoqi met me once before he went to Africa. He has gained weight after the vicissitudes of life. Hu Jia hasn't shaved for several days, and his whole body looks very sloppy. I don't have the same enthusiasm as before. He was very painful. Anno, if it hadn't been Lin Ke at the beginning, would the person standing next to you now be me? Then I really want to thank Lin Ke. He stopped talking and finally rubbed his hands. Anno, I'm with Lin Ke to test your feelings for me. I waved my hand and interrupted. When I took a picture of you and Lin Ke, I slept with Shen Yun. Shen Zhaoqi's pupils tightened and he never spoke again. He left discouragedly. After work, Shen Yunqing came to pick me up. He didn't drive for a long time. Sister, did Shen Zhaoqi come to you today? It's hard to hide the jealousy in the tone. I smiled and squashed his face and shouted sweetly. Husband, I'm hungry. What should I eat tonight?